This episode of the Berry Chronicles is proudly brought to you by Bariatric Support Australia.
Hi everybody, I'm Tash.
And I'm Damo.
And together we are so excited to bring this week's episode of The Berry Chronicles.
This week, handling disappointment.
Yes. It happens.
It does.
It does.
Life isn't always rainbows and unicorn farts.
Well, I was kind of hoping that after weight loss surgery, my life would be rainbows and unicorn farts.
Yeah.
But that did not happen.
It would have been much easier.
It would have, but unfortunately, no.
I think the thing is, if we don't have the rainbows and unicorn farts before surgery, there's a good chance we're not going to have it.
I do agree with that. I think that I went into it with the expectations of it being a certain way.
Yeah.
I kind of blamed my obesity for every single thing that had gone wrong in my life. Well, if I wasn't fat, or if I didn't look like this, then that would have happened. Or if I wasn't this size, then that opportunity would have opened for me. And I had very much that kind of an attitude about myself and my size.
Yeah.
And when I lost weight, I found that I was still me.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember there was, I used to work at a service station. Yeah. A big chain servo. And I remember one day my manager said to me, they're doing interviews in Brisbane for an assistant manager's position.
Yeah.
You should apply. So I applied, got the interview, and I went down. It was one of those group interviews, and there was all sorts of business people there, and a lot of people going for it. Anyway, I got a phone call saying, Damo, you've got the job. And I turned it down because I was like, there's no way I could do it. Because, I had conditioned myself so much to believe the worst in myself that when I was offered this position, suddenly I was like, they must have made a mistake.
So it was easier to disappoint yourself than feel like you might be disappointed down the track, or like disappoint someone else.
Yeah.
Just gonna relate.
Very sad that, I and at the time I blamed my size for it, but it was my feelings about myself.
Yeah.
That I was just like, there's no way I can do it. Well, they obviously didn't believe that or give it a position.
And good on them for not being sizes.
Because,
how wonderful is that?
It was. And at the time, I would have customers come in and they'd make comments and other work colleagues make comments. So it wasn't like I was a small person.
Yeah.
Then I had the ability. I look back now and go, they are so stupid. But it was just the way I felt about myself.
Yeah.
That I didn't deserve something like that.
I can relate to that. How do you think? Well, I don't know about you, but when I went in for my first appointment, like when we talk about managing our expectations, when I went in for my very first appointment with the surgeon that ended up doing my surgery, we didn't really talk about goals as such or where things would end up. But there was kind of a hope that maybe I might lose around about 60 to 70 kilos. And I can remember at the time thinking, oh my God, how will how will I do that?
Yeah.
Obviously, I did go on to lose quite a bit more than that.
You just had someone walking past the house. Hey, we're back.
So I think it's really important as we go into the weight loss surgery journey with the surgeon to sit down and actually have that really honest conversation just around where do you think I may end up? They don't have a crystal ball.
Yes. And that's what my surgeon said to me.
Yeah.
Because my first thing was, well, how much weight am I going to lose? And he sort of looked at me and I was there thinking, well, you must have some sort of goal. He said to me, well, if you only lose 25 kilos, are you going to be happy? In my state then, I'm there going, oh yeah, I'm stoked, that'd be great, totally worth it. Then when I got home thinking about it, 25 kilos, I need to lose at least 100.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, I'll do it anyway. And hopefully he's wrong. I think it was more him. He didn't want.
He was managing the expectation.
Yeah.
Which is important. It really is. We can go into weight loss surgery thinking that everything about our lives is going to change because of the procedure, but so much of that end result is dependent on a massive range of things. It's not just the surgery, it's not just the surgery type, or even, it is how we choose to live our lives afterwards. But there's so many other factors and medications, all sorts of things factor into the end result. Conditions, hereditary things. It's really impossible for a surgeon to sit in front of you and say, this is where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for us to manage that in our own minds and understand, okay, like what your surgeon said to you, if it was only for 25, and we're certainly not diminishing 25 kilos, that's an incredible loss. But if you're, as you were, someone that's up around 200 kilos.
Yeah. 25 is a good start.
Yeah, 25 is a good start. So, yeah, it's just one of those important conversations to have.
Yeah. I remember, so after weight loss surgery, and I'd lost 12 kilos pre-surgery, just in the 2 weeks doing shakes.
Shitting yourself out.
Yes.
Right out, all the way out.
Like a needle.
Yeah, it was just
oh. And I had a bit of a storm. Well, I wasn't in a storm. My body was recovering straight after. And it took a little while for the weight loss to start. One of the things that I had counted on, because I'd been told so many times, is your back pain's going to go away if you lose weight. I didn't realise that was the doctor's way of saying there's nothing we can actually do about your back pain. It's all on you.
Yeah, it is what it is.
There wasn't anything they could do about it. So let's just blame the weight. So I was convinced 100% that by the time I lost, 50 kilos,
you were going to be frolicking free in the
field. Yeah. Just running around through the field of daisies. And
I can see you get that.
Yeah. And it wasn't like that. And I remember
it's up.
Yeah. When there was one night and I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain, and my pain meds had been increased, and it was, and I always said that I'd never have back surgery. And it was that night that I started emailing surgeons because the disappointment that I was feeling, and it wasn't just a disappointment, it was also a feeling of failure. Like I'd let my family down because I was still in pain. And that was really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, oh, we're going to have such a better life after I had weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
And there I was in more pain than I was preoperatively and doing less. It's like, how can I be doing less? I'm 50 kilos lighter. You know, things should be amazing. And I started to spike.
And for some people, things are just, they just are amazing. They just get better and better after weight loss surgery. And we love that.
Yeah,
don't we?
That is the best stories to hear of people that just, you know, they smash their goals, the pain disappears if they've got pain. And, you know, we hear that a lot. The
I just love it.
disappears. And it's fantastic to hear.
Unfortunately, though, it's not the story for everyone. And we just think it's really important that we have these conversations, that, you know, if everything hasn't just magically fixed itself because you've started to lose weight, don't lose heart. Just don't lose heart. And that's the important part of managing life when disappointments come. So what did you do, Damo, around that? I mean, I know that you said he spiraled, and he did spiral for a while.
Yep.
But what are the things, the strategies that you used to be able to scaffold yourself?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I had to really learn was to pace myself.
Yeah.
You know, I've had so many back surgeries now. I've honestly lost count.
Yeah.
And what I've learned from that is that I probably will never be completely pain free. So accepting me as I am,
Some pain.
and accepting the fact that I have to pace myself or I'm going to have a pain where I'll be wrecked for days and weeks. So I think that's important, is to know where our limits are. And to be okay with that, and to even set those boundaries with friends and family. And, you know, yes, I want to go out to a party tomorrow, so I might have to do a little bit less today.
I'll do X today, I do Y today, I'll do blah. Or we pace ourselves in our work, pace ourselves around our exercising and things like that, so that we can manage the life that we want to have.
And also taking the opportunities to still go out and do something, even though I might be in a little bit of pain. It's okay. It's okay to have a little bit of pain and go out, and okay, I might be the most jovial or happy, but you know what? I'm still out. I'm still enjoying spending time with my family.
100%.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So often we hear people say, oh, I've had weight loss surgery and I failed. And I think for me, I've come to accept that failure is a very harsh term.
That's so harsh.
You know, if we look at our whole life and what we're doing, this one thing that we're saying, oh, I failed, we're sort of applying a lifetime term to one little aspect of us, because the body that we live in, that's not everything who we are. You know, we don't have to be defined by that. I remember when kids at school would call me Fat Damo. So you remember that show, Fat Albert? Yeah. And they'd come, hey, it's Fat Damo. And I let that begin to define who I was. And I saw myself as that. I didn't see myself as the kind fun person that I was. I saw myself as Goodyear Blend.
Yep.
And so even applying that to weight loss surgery, I did get down to my goal weight, but then I regained after having an accident. And I remember saying to my psychologist one day, I've totally failed. And that's when he said, Damo, that's a pretty big view to have on one little aspect of your life. And it was just a blip, you know. And I remember sitting there thinking about that, and I thought about that for weeks.
And I really hope that it will encourage you, if you're listening, to know that the number on the scales is not the definition of who you are. And managing how we feel about that number is so, so important.
Yeah.
You know, from my perspective, and my experience is a little different. My weight went much lower than we ever anticipated. I blew through the surgeon's goal, I blew through my own goals, and I kept losing. And my weight is stable now, but I'm still much thinner than I ever expected to be. And that has come with its own unique and strange challenges for me to face at times. And there have even been times when, and I know this might sound just mind-blowing, and please know that I am grateful that I've been able to maintain my weight, and I'm glad about all of those things, and I'm very grateful for having had surgery. But when someone comes up to you and says, you are projecting an image that could be damaging to young people, why don't you just gain some weight?
It's none of your business.
Just mind blowing.
The inner Samuel L. Jackson rises up and says, "No, motherfucker."
Well, my inner dialogue just kind of was silent because I didn't really even know how to or what to say. I have personally been disappointed at times that I became as thin as I am. And I know that might sound very crazy and potentially ungrateful, like I've already said. But when you're living that, again, it's another thing to come to terms with in your mind, and just knowing that the scales and what they say do not define me, but who I am is defined by how I am in my life, the way that we live out our life, the kind of people that we are on the inside. That's what's important.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen the way you've had to battle with different things because of your weight now, and the time where you pass it out. Yeah, and it's like there are times where it's gone from, you know, focusing on food pre-operatively, so you've got to focus on food again post-operatively.
Yeah,
to manage your blood sugar levels and blood source. Yeah. And what we really want is to have no issues. That's when you disappoint.
absolutely.
Because I did all this work and I'm still having issues.
Yes. And managing reactive hypoglycemia on an ongoing basis, that was incredibly challenging and very disappointing. I didn't want to be having to focus on food. I also have celiac disease, so that's something that I will manage for the rest of my life. And it obviously again means that I must be focusing on food. And unfortunately, because celiac means I cannot consume any wheat products, I must have some rules around food as well, which is something that I would have liked to be able to avoid. But unfortunately, just because of life circumstances, I can't.
Yeah. So I think what we're seeing is the importance of being able to celebrate things
Absolutely.
that are not related to a tape measure, scales, or necessarily food, or even anything to do with actual weight loss surgery. Um, I know one of my favourites, and I love seeing pictures of before and after, but one of my favourites is seeing people be able to do up a seatbelt on a plane.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Not having to ask to be the belt extension.
Yeah.
You know, and just that feeling for me, I was like, it gave me a moment of pride. I hope, you know, what I've achieved.
Oh, it gave me a moment of ugly crying. I can remember what I wore.
Yeah.
Remember what I was wearing on the plane the first time that I didn't have to ask for a seatbelt extension. And I ugly cried. I just did. And the poor airline person was looking at me like, "Is what wrong with you? Flight trauma? What's going on here?" No, I'm fine. I just don't have to ask for a seatbelt extension. You know, like those, and to use like our little acronym, I suppose it's an NSV. It's a non-scale victory.
Yeah.
And I definitely have had some amazing ones of those. I think my favourite one was the first time that I went into a store that I'd always admired and always wanted to be able to go into, and I was able to buy something.
Yeah.
Although I did feel conflicted. I was like, I want to go in there and I want to buy something from there, but I wouldn't have once been able to go in there. So I nearly felt guilty for wanting to. Anyway,
No,
again, quite screwed, but it felt good.
Yeah. Another one of my favourites would be going on a Ferris wheel with Hermione. Yeah. Or, my nephews. Um, that was an amazing feeling, and because I was not able to do that.
Being able to fit on rides.
Yeah, getting on rides. And although it wasn't great for my back, I had no regrets going on dodgem carts with the kids, because they might be sore for a little bit after, but seeing their faces and spending that time with them, actually being able to do something with them rather than standing there watching
100%.
is just incredible.
I remember another one that I love is that my boys absolutely love bouldering and rock climbing.
Yeah.
They just love it. And when I was at a point where I felt like I might be able to participate, I went along and I was able to do it. And I just just climbed up those walls like nothing else. And it felt amazing. And I can remember when there was a time when I wouldn't have been able to fit the harness on, like would have got lost in all of my knee.
Yeah.
And just being able to do that, it was awesome. And I've done it a lot of times since then.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, it really is.
So I think the important thing for us, my take is that we need to set goals for ourselves that aren't specifically weight,
or number related,
because that's when the disappointment can really come in. I read a post this morning, and it was about the same thing, that lost a bit of weight, but felt like they had lost a lot. But their clothes, 2 sizes too big now. And, it's important that we maintain a big perception.
Yeah, a big picture.
The big picture. Not it's so easy to get caught up with looking at one piece of the puzzle.
Actually, I was just thinking right then, another thing that I just absolutely loved was we were on holidays in Queensland, coming up to see Damo and the family, and we went to Hog's Breath Cafe. Now, I used to love that place, Freo. But I was very, very scared to ever go there and always had to get a table, not a boots, because I could not fit into the boots. And when we went up to Queensland on holiday, the boys were like, oh, can we go to Holsgrove? We were down the wharf at the Lula Bar. I don't know if it's still there or not. But anyway, we went in and instantly I felt that, that anxiety in the pit of my stomach. Oh, where are we? Oh, then I remembered, Tash, it's okay. And I fit into that booth, and our youngest, he just held my hand and patted my hand and he said, I'm so happy for you. Because, and I mean, he's such a little sweetheart. But yeah, he just patted my hand and he knew what it meant to me in that moment. It's those things, it's those moments that can help be a frame of reference for us when the numbers might not look like we want them to or whatever. We can, take such comfort in the things that do not relate to the size of our clothes or the number on the tape measure or what the scales say. Yeah.
Guys, thank you for joining us this week. We hope you got something out of this. We'd love to get your feedback in comments. And feel free to share this with other people that
Might be struggling.
We want people to know that everyone is more than just what they look like. And everyone deserves to be seen and heard. So have a safe week and catch up soon.
See you later.